She tested her boyfriend's loyalty, and he passed. Not in a way that left questions, not in a way that made her unsure, but in a way that should have ended every doubt she had. The kind of loyalty people hope for, the kind people search for, and rarely find. But somehow, that moment, the moment she confirmed he was loyal, became the exact moment she lost him. Jasmine and Daniel had been together for almost 3 years. Not the kind of 3 years filled with chaos and constant breakups, but the kind that slowly builds into something stable, something familiar, something safe. They had routines, weekend plans that didn't need to be discussed anymore, conversations that flowed without effort, silences that didn't feel uncomfortable. Daniel knew the exact tone of Jasmine's voice when she was tired, when she was upset, when she was pretending everything was fine. And Jasmine knew the small things about him too. The way he would run his hand through his hair when he was thinking, the way he paused before answering serious questions. It wasn't a loud kind of love, but it was real. And sometimes, real love doesn't look exciting. It looks calm. From the outside, Jasmine had no reason to question anything. Daniel wasn't secretive. He wasn't distant. He didn't give her reasons to doubt him. But that didn't stop the feeling. Because doubt doesn't always come from evidence. Sometimes, it comes from memory. From past experiences that quietly shape the way you see the present. Before Daniel, there was someone else. Someone who said all the right things. Someone who made promises that felt real at the time. Until they weren't. It didn't end with a confession. It ended with discovery. A message she wasn't meant to see. A conversation that revealed everything. And the worst part wasn't just the betrayal. It was how normal everything had seemed before she found out. That's what stayed with her. That's what followed her into her relationship with Daniel. The idea that everything could feel right and still be wrong. So how do you trust something when you've already seen how easily trust can break? At first, Jasmine ignored the thoughts because they didn't make sense. Daniel hadn't done anything wrong. But over time, the calmness of their relationship started to feel unsettling. Not because it was bad, but because it felt too good, too smooth, too consistent. And in her mind, nothing that perfect could last. The thoughts didn't come all at once. They came slowly, quietly, at random moments. What if he's just good at hiding things? What if I'm missing something again? What if I trust him and I'm wrong? And the most dangerous question of all, what if I don't actually know who he is when I'm not around? Love stopped feeling like something she could rely on. It started to feel like something she needed to confirm, to verify, to test. And once that shift happens, everything changes. Because now, you're not just in a relationship. You're investigating one. It started as a thought she didn't take seriously. What if I test him? She even smiled at the idea. It felt unnecessary, a little extreme. But the thought didn't leave. It stayed. And over time, it started to feel reasonable. She thought about telling her friend, just to hear it out loud. But she stopped herself, because she already knew what would happen. Her friend would tell her not to do it, would remind her that trust doesn't work like that. And Jasmine didn't want to hear that. Not because it wasn't true, but because it didn't give her the certainty she was looking for. So, she made the choice alone. Quietly. Without advice. Without hesitation. Because in her mind, this wasn't about deception. It was about protection. She created the account late at night. when everything was quiet, when decisions feel easier to make. New name, new photos, a different version of herself, more confident, more bold, the kind of woman she believed would test him properly. Her heart was racing more than she expected. It was just a message, but it didn't feel small. It felt like something that could change everything. She typed, paused, deleted, typed again. Hey, I think I've seen you around before. She stared at it, then sent it. Waiting has a way of stretching time. Minutes feel like hours. Thoughts get louder. Doubts get stronger. Maybe he won't reply. Maybe I'm overthinking everything. And then, her phone buzzed. He replied. Simple. Polite. Nothing suspicious. Nothing wrong. But he replied. And somehow, that alone made her feel uneasy. At that exact moment, Daniel was sitting in his living room, scrolling through his phone, completely unaware that anything unusual was happening. To him, it was just a message, a random interaction, nothing important, nothing worth overthinking. And that's what made the situation so unbalanced. Because while Jasmine was analyzing every word, he was just being himself. The conversation continued. Light, casual, normal. And that's what made it dangerous. Because nothing about it felt obviously wrong, but everything about it carried weight. Jasmine watched closely, looking for signs. Any sign. A wrong word. A suggestive tone. Anything that would confirm her fears. But Daniel didn't give her anything. No flirting. No interest. Just respectful replies. Clear boundaries. Consistent behavior. Exactly the same man she thought she knew. That should have been enough. But it wasn't. Because now, it wasn't just about testing him. It was about proving something to herself. So she pushed further. More messages. More attention. More opportunities for him to fail. And somewhere in the middle of it, something shifted. Not in him, but in her. Because she started to feel uncomfortable. Not because he was doing something wrong, but because she was. She paused, looked at the screen, and for a moment, she almost stopped, almost ended it, almost chose trust. But instead, she continued. One night, they were sitting next to each other, close, relaxed, sharing the same space, and her phone lit up. A message from the fake account. Her heart jumped. Who's that? Daniel asked casually. Just a friend, she said quickly. Too quickly. For a second, he looked at her. Not suspicious, but curious. Then he nodded and looked away. But Jasmine didn't relax. Because now, this wasn't just a test anymore. It was something real. She tried one last time. More direct. More obvious. Creating the kind of situation where most people would slip. But Daniel didn't. He stayed the same. Unmoved. Unshaken. And finally, she saw it clearly. He wasn't going to fail. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. He was loyal. Completely. For the first time in weeks, she felt peace. The kind that comes from finally knowing. She smiled, closed the account, and told herself, it's over. But then, she made one decision. One small choice. That would undo everything. She told him. They were sitting together. Calm. Normal. Just like any other day. And then she said it. I tested you. She expected relief. A laugh. Maybe even appreciation. You passed, she said, as if it was something he would be proud of. But Daniel didn't react. Not the way she imagined. He just sat there, quiet, still, processing. And that silence felt heavier than anything she had experienced before. Why? One word, but it carried everything. I needed to be sure, she said. And this time, even she could hear how wrong it sounded. Daniel nodded slowly. I understand, he said. But his voice was different now. Not angry. Not loud. Just distant. I passed your test. Pause. But I don't want to be in a relationship where I have to prove my loyalty like that. Jasmine felt it immediately. That moment when something breaks, and you know it's permanent. I passed your test. He looked at her one last time. But you failed mine. After he left, the silence felt unbearable. No messages. No calls. Just emptiness. She picked up her phone again and again. Typed messages. Deleted them. Nothing felt right. Because nothing could fix it. Days turned into weeks. And reality settled in slowly. Painfully. She didn't lose him because he failed. She lost him because he didn't. Because while trying to confirm his loyalty, she destroyed his trust. Trust isn't something you test. It's something you give. And once it's broken, even loyalty can't bring it back. Speech balloon, if you were in his position, would you walk away? Speech balloon, or would you forgive her and stay? Be honest. I want to hear your thoughts. And if this story made you feel something, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.